Well, hope you're all doing good. Hope your trucks are treating you good. Uh, Mine's still in the shop, but this is a video I didn't think I would be making, and it's a subject that's really bugging me now. Um, just comes at a bad time too. But if you've seen my previous videos, you know that I worked at Mercer for a little over 4 months, and was not very happy with it. I did pull a step deck there that I leased from Mercer, and the freight was very disappointing. It was a lot of heavy, cheap freight, a lot of deadheading, and multiple, multiple occasions when there was no loads. The loads were, my deadhead would have been so far away, it would have taken over a day to get to a load. And that happened multiple times. But so let me get into what's going on. About 3 weeks ago, I received, I don't know if I got the email first. Yeah, I think I got the email first from Mercer Transportation uh, with an invoice stating that I owed them over $3,000. Now, keep in mind, this is over 6 months after I left Mercer. 6 months. So in the email, there are no receipts, there's no description, there's nothing saying what exactly the charges were for, other than there were tolls in New York and New Jersey that I owed them for, and trailer repairs, and a couple of other things, but just didn't break it down very good. So I sent him an email and said, "You've got to be kidding! I lost money while I was at Mercer. You're the guy. You're the one should be paying me." So I didn't hear anything back for a little while, and then I received the same thing in the mail. Um, so I just put it on the desk and left it. Then I get an email about a week and a half ago saying, "Oh, you're right. Those tolls aren't yours, but everything else is, and please send us the payment." Um, so yesterday, I believe it was yesterday. Yesterday, I get a call from Mercer Transportation, and the lady started out very nice. You know, it's a they're basically a bill collector. That's her job. So she says, "How can we expect to get this payment?" And I said, "Well, you can't. I'm not going to pay it, first of all, but secondly, what exactly is this for?" And she couldn't tell me anything. "Oh, well, you'll have to call this department." I said, "No, ma'am, you're the one trying to collect this debt. You tell me what it's for." And she still couldn't tell me anything. And I said, "Okay, let me tell you something. I was at Mercer for a little over 4 months. In that time, I had to call in at least 4 times on 4 different occasions asking why there are no loads available for me. My truck sat for multiple days. Um, unless I was willing to deadhead over 500 miles to get a load that didn't pay very good, uh, my truck had to sit, and I lost a lot of money doing that. Um, Also, the way Mercer pays you, as soon as you do a load and you turn in that paperwork, you get paid for that paperwork, and Mercer charges you for your insurance and all your other incidental things you have with them. So they break everything out on a daily basis. Okay. So I went on, and at no point could she give me any information on anything. And she finally just said, "Well, I'll just send it to collections." So it was basically a threat. So I just hung up the phone because I was getting pretty angry. when anybody in the world can just walk up to you and say, "Oh, you owe me $3,000," and give you an invoice, but they don't explain anything. So my I was pretty angry, upset, but my thoughts were, I can't afford to hire a lawyer to represent me on this because it's $3,000. They want a little over $3,000. Would I want to waste money hiring a lawyer for this type of thing? And so what I decided to do was, okay, since Mercer didn't fulfill their part of the contract, why don't I just make my own invoice charging them for my losses? And that's what I did. And I was I tell you what, I didn't charge them as much as I thought I should, and it still came out to be $8,000. And what I charged them for was, well, let me go back and a little bit. So my time at Mercer didn't work out for me, and at no point with anybody at Mercer was I out of line or anything. I was always respectful to everybody I talked to. I had a very nice coordinator there that we always discuss things. So on those occasions when there was no work for me and my truck had to sit all day, I didn't just sit there. What I did was I called my coordinator and said, "Hey, is what I'm looking at here for real? Am I going to have to sit?" And each time the response I got was, "Yeah, what you're looking at is real. We don't have any loads out of that area or within this certain amount of miles." And I said, "Well, what can I do? What's my recourse?" "Oh, you just have to sit and wait." But one of the other things is their system that they say is fair. It's a first in, first out system, and I won't go into the details at this moment. But so loads will drop on the load board, and you think, "Oh, there's a load," but you really don't have access to that load. What happens is anybody else within a certain area, the certain area, they can't tell you how, what that distance is. Anybody else that was there before you, or they'd been on vacation, or their truck broke down, or they'd taken a few days off, or anything, if they were there before you, they get first choice of any load that comes out. So on several occasions, hey, a load will pop on the load board, you try to grab it and then realize, oh, I don't have that load. Somebody else got it for whatever reason. So that happened several times. So my truck sat several occasions. And excuse me. So I tried to get that, where it was somewhat documented that I was having those issues. So at the end, about 4.5 months into it, I decided this is not working out for me at all. I'm losing money here. So I called up my coordinator and I said, it's not working out for me. And at that time I was looking at different companies, and that's when I found F2F. But I told her, I said, "Hey, I'm just going to have to give you a 2 weeks notice because I have to move on to something better." And that's what I feel is the right thing to do. I got some criticism for that. Oh, never give a 2-week notice, never this, never that. But that's, to me, the right thing to do, and I'm going to do the right thing. It's how I feel about it. So to me, if you give somebody a 2-week notice, they either do one of several things. They say, "Oh, is there anything we can do to fix this?" And Mercer didn't do that. Or they say, "Okay, just let us know when you're gonna, bring your trailer back in, and we'll make plans." Mercer didn't do that. What they did was immediately cancel my fuel card, ELD, insurance, everything. At that very moment, they canceled everything. And so they sent me a some kind of paperwork. I can't remember exactly what it was now, but it was just cancel the contract, and they needed me to sign it right then. So I called them back. I said, hey, I gave a 2-week notice. My plan was to at least get a load and to bring your trailer back up there because I'm over 1,000 miles away. And they basically said, no, you're done now. Bring the trailer back up here. So I had to deadhead over 1,000 miles to bring them their trailer back. And the reason I tell you all that is because that's one of the things I put in the invoice. Wasn't my choice to deadhead back up there. It was theirs. And so I charged them $2 a mile for bringing their trailer back up there. Now, Mercer has many locations where you can drop a trailer, but they didn't want that. They wanted me to bring it to Louisville, Kentucky, so that's what I did. So they finally, I sent her the invoice, and I sent her a note on the email with it saying, if you're going to charge me, if you're going to send me this invoice, I need proof of the work that you've done on the trailer, and also why am I being charged for insurance, etc., etc., if you take that out on a daily basis and you terminated me immediately upon my calling. Because if they stopped my fuel card and stopped everything, why am I getting overcharged? So she sent back I guess you call it a receipt for work done. And it basically, they bought a new set of tires for the trailer that I used for 4 months and put brakes on it. And I was charged for usage for 4 months. And 2 of those weeks during that 4 months, I did power only. So not only did I do power only, my truck sat a lot. I deadheaded a lot. The trailer was empty. They're going to charge me for a new set of tires and brakes 6 months after I leave. But one of the big things about this is, so they don't send the truck out or the trailer out to a third party and say, hey, check this out and see if it needs anything. They don't look at the inspection before and compare it to the inspection after and say, oh yeah, he really messed this up. So what they do is they send it to their inspectors, and anything that's wrong with that trailer, you're going to get charged for, and they send it to their guy to fix it. And when I say their guy, they have a former employee who has a mechanic business now that's run out of their lot that's on their property. They also let him use a building on their property if it rains to do repairs. So it's sort of a conflict of interest. They say, oh, this is wrong. They send it to their guy to get it fixed, and then no matter what it is, I get charged for it. So, and I also got charged for a missing winch. It doesn't make sense to me, but anyway, I'm kind of rambling here, but yeah. So my next step would be to hire a lawyer, because like I said, they didn't fulfill their part of the contract. I really lost money by being there, and I gave them every opportunity. I gave them a 2-week notice for both of us to mutually part ways, for me to bring the trailer back up there, and if there was, they're charging me for this extra insurance and other things. So if there was, how would I put this? If they have to charge up until a certain point for their insurance, say it was the 20th when I quit, and I still have to pay for up until the 30th for their insurance, you see what I'm getting at? Then I gave them every opportunity for me to fulfill that. They terminated me immediately. So all this is on them, and I'm at the point now, like I said, I sent them an invoice and asked them to remit payment to my business address. and that's the only thing I can do right now. So if I get harassed any further, then I will have to hire an attorney, because if they send it to collections, that means they're just trying to mess with me and mess up my credit. But one other thing I'm going to touch on real quick here, and it's a discriminatory policy at Mercer Transportation. And this is what I mean. So Mercer has this policy of first in, first out, which means that if you're the first truck in an area, you get first choice of any loads that come on the load board, which really on the surface makes a lot of sense, but it doesn't work that way. And here's why. There's no set limits as far as mileage. So let's say I get unloaded in Houston and I'm sitting there waiting for a load. Somebody gets unloaded in San Antonio, 200 miles away. They still have first choice of any load in Houston. So they won't tell you what that mileage is. Is it 200 miles? Is it 500 miles? So anybody within 300 mile range has choice of first load out of a major metropolitan area. You just don't know. And here's where the discriminatory part comes in. So I found this out sort of by accident. The way that Mercer gets around their first in, first out policy is that agents can say that a load is dedicated. So if a load comes out once, maybe twice a week, they can say, oh, this is a dedicated load. It comes out on a regular basis. I can just have one driver do this. I don't have to put it on the load board. And that happens with every power only load that Mercer has. They call it dedicated. Any route with Amazon or UPS or FedEx or something like that. So what happens is these fleet owners that have been around a while, they've sucked up all those opportunities. They'll put their trucks on those loads. So if one of their trucks breaks down on one of these nice lucrative power only runs, that load still doesn't go on the board. They still give that load back to the fleet owner, and he can have the opportunity to put another truck on it. So you'll never see those real good loads on the board, and their first in, first out policy is out the window. And I don't know if this is true, but I've also heard from many sources that they do have favorites over there, that if there's a load pops on the board and they put their name on it, they'll give them that load. They'll figure out a way to give them that load. I've never seen that in action, but I do know the other dedicated stuff is true. I've actually seen that. So it's frustrating that I did everything I could to part ways with them in a good way. It didn't work out for me. I tried to better my opportunities, and now a multi-million dollar company is gonna try to ruin me over $3,000 of trailer repair for a trailer that I had for a little over 4 months. Very frustrating.